Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, joined once again by my faithful manservant / factotum Bertrum. Say hello, Bertrum.
Hello, Bertrum.
And this is my review for Soul Reaver 2. So, ladies and gents, Soul Reaver 2 originally released in 2001. A year I remember fondly as the year I first played such fantastic video games as Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, Max Payne, and Onimusha Warlords. It was also the year I had a particularly bad September the 11th.
Because of that thing?
Because of that thing, yes. And don't worry, dear viewers, it was a sex thing, not that other thing that happened on September the 11th, 2001.
What other thing that happened on September the 11th, 2001?
Shut up, Bertram. And if you must know, it was the day I lost my great-great-grandfather Hercule to that most common of illnesses, getting really fucking old. But we're not here to discuss that. We are here to discuss Soul Reaver 2. And just like that beautiful bearded bastard Barry Burton, you're probably wondering,
what is this? What is it? What is this?
Soul Reaver 2 is an absolutely splendid sequel to Soul Reaver 1.
Spoilers?
I prefer the term blowing my load much too early.
Oh, just like you did back in September the 11th, 2000 and...
Shut up, Bertram. Ha ha. Now, this is actually the third title in the infamous Legacy of Kain series of video games. A series that has more blood-sucking bastards than you would find in your average law firm. We once again play as Raziel, the aforementioned Soul Reaver, who continues his quest for revenge against the vampire bastard Kain. On his adventure, Raziel uncovers the history of the dreaded land of Nosgoth, as well as his own destiny, or some such nonsense. So let's review this little video game the only way I know how. Badly. And let's start with what I liked about Soul Reaver 2. Oh, speaking of things I like it when you subscribe to the channel and like this video, dear viewer. So, do that for me, won't you? Post haste. The first thing I must commend Soul Reaver 2 for is its writing, voice acting, and performances. Which is essentially the same thing as voice acting. I just wanted to mention 3 things here. Everyone from Simon Templeman as Kain, to Michael Bell as Raziel, to myself as silent, uncredited village idiot, do an amazing job with the material they are given. Sorry, Bertram. Please hold all questions until after the review. Soul Reaver 2 is also substantially better looking than its predecessor, especially if you play the remastered version for the PS5. The character models, the cinematics, the Elder God's phallic-looking tentacles that I most definitely will not be thinking about when I am alone later. All of them are c'est magnifique, which is French for bloody awesome.
It's really not.
I don't remember asking you, Bertram. Soul Reaver 2 also has a wonderful soundtrack. Nothing quite as epic as the score for my latest own video game. OCG does something very naughty with an Egyptian mummy, but it's a very close race. Can't believe those bastards at PlayStation wouldn't put my game on the store. Never mind. And the final nice thing I can say about this game is that unlike its predecessor, this game doesn't have more puzzles than you'd find in a bloody nursing home. This sequel has more of an emphasis on the action, the combat, the gratuitous violence, all of that good stuff. There are some puzzles here and there, particularly in this game's version of dungeons, but they didn't detract from my enjoyment one bloody bit. So, let's talk about what I didn't like so much about Soul Reaver 2. Sitting comfortably, dear viewer? Good. Then let's stop scratching yourself, dear viewer. To be frank, there isn't a lot about this game that I didn't enjoy. But since you asked, while this is a step up graphically from the first Soul Reaver, especially if you play the aforementioned remastered version, this is still a 24-year-old video game, so temper your expectations a little bit, especially if you're playing on PlayStation 5. I also found there to be a little too much backtracking for my liking. Though the game only has 3 pretty lengthy chapters, you'll find yourself traversing the same ruined town, the same smelly swamp, the same cliffs and paths repeatedly during your roughly 8 to 10 hour playthrough. Unlike the original Soul Reaver, which had some nice boss fights, Soul Reaver 2 has, there's 1 plus 2, divide by 8, carry the 4, none. You do fight some enemies in the late game that you might interpret as a boss, but they're really not. This was a little disappointing, but honestly, dear viewers, Soul Reaver 2 is an improvement over the original and Blood Omen in almost every conceivable other way. So do I recommend that you play this game? Of course I bloody do. Therefore, I declare that Soul Reaver 2 is splendid. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my review for Soul Reaver 2. If you enjoyed this little review of mine, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, well then feel free to give me a thumbs down. But please remember the single most important thing I always tell you, dear viewer, and that is to always stay obsessed with gaming. Say goodbye, Bertram.
Goodbye, Bertram. What's this about you being in the game, OCG?
Oh, yes, that. Funny story, actually, Bertram. You see, are you still here? Oh, you must have really enjoyed this video then. In that case, you had better subscribe to the channel and check out our other content. Otherwise, you're a booby pants, and no one wants to be a booby pants.